Okay, let's just get this out in the open nice and early. I really like Digimon. Sure, Pokemon was all the rage when it hit the US, and I'm on record talking about my love for those little pocket monsters. But when a show has creatures that have their own personalities and can actually communicate with the other characters in a way that we understand, yeah, that sold me immediately. But what even is a Digimon? Well, for starters, they're digital monsters. Digimon was created back in 1997 as a series of virtual pets that were intended to be the masculine counterparts to the Tamagotchi. Man, f*** Tamagotchi for being too girly. Digital pets all the way. I have 3 of these things. Holding my keys in my pants pocket is impossible. Anime, manga, video games, films, and a couple different trading card games. The franchise itself focuses on the digital monsters that inhabit the digital world, which is a parallel universe that originated from Earth's various communication networks and the World Wide Web. The first designs for the monsters were cute and iconic, even on smaller screens. Later designs were much edgier, influenced by the style of American comics. Digimon gained momentum early on in Japan with its first video game, Digimon World, releasing in January 1999, and a short film that same year titled Digimon Adventure, which was released in theaters. The film would be followed by the television series of the same name, Digimon Adventure, airing in Japan from March of '99 to March of 2000 with 54 total episodes. And then Digimon came to America. I've collected Digimon merch so much more than I think I've ever collected Pokemon merch. I know I've got like a Licky Licky plush and a couple little pixel art Legos on my shelves, but like when it came to Digimon, I actively liked the trading card game. I still actively play the new trading card game. I love the little Gashapon figure keychains that were out in the early 90s. It was something that was more interesting to me in terms of merchandising than Pokemon ever was. I had the first iteration of the Digimon TCG starter deck, you know, the one that came with Saber Leomon. Sadly, I never learned to play the game, so maybe this Digimon official game guide will help me understand. No, I still don't understand how to play this game. What about these fascinating D3 Digivices from Adventure 02? I remember these being a more interesting version of a Tamagotchi, and I brought mine with me everywhere. And oh man, do you remember those fantastic Digivolving figures? Agumon Warp Digivolve 2? Oh my god, it's horrifying. They updated some of them and re-released them under the new Digimon Spirit. Oh come on, they're still so f***ing expensive. Okay, I liked it, but apparently Digimon didn't actually have the staying merchandising power that Pokemon did. Okay, I can admit when I'm wrong. But one of the things that's always been weird about Digimon is how it handles movies. Now, granted, most anime movies are not considered canon. In fact, I think 9 out of 10 times, maybe even 19 out of 20 times, just to make it a bigger number, and a movie that takes place in the anime universe is not considered canon. The closest thing I can remember is One Piece Film Red, which was considered like loose canon. Digimon is weird because it's actually kind of canon. In October 2000, I managed to convince my parents to take me to the movie theater. There was this movie that I had my heart set on seeing, and it was so good. No, get out of here, Pokemon the Movie 2000. I've watched you 8 times already. Get out. The Digimon movie had arrived, and I was beyond excited. I mean, it was Digimon. Adventure had wrapped up, and 02 was just a month into its run. How bad could it possibly have been? So let's take a step back for a second and actually look at how this movie came to be. After the success of the first 2 Pokemon films, Fox execs were like, you know what? We have this highly profitable brand, we have a butt ton of money, and there's already a bunch of existing films, so why don't we just throw money at it and see what happens? When has that phrase ever been used for good? Unfortunately, Toei Animation didn't have any full feature-length films for Digimon. Instead, they had animation fairs every spring and summer with featurettes showcasing their current animated titles. In the case of Digimon, they had published Digimon Adventure in 1999, Our War Game in 2000, which was a follow-up to Digimon Adventure, and Digimon Hurricane Landing, Transcendent Evolution, The Golden Digimentals in 2000, which lined up with Digimon Adventure 02 in terms of the cast. These 3 films came out to a combined 120 minutes in length, and the Fox Kids team somehow used black magic to condense them down even further into a single, somewhat coherent story, coming in just under 85 minutes. Let it just be known, in case it's not incredibly obvious, I was a Fox kid growing up. I grew up on Digimon, Big Bad Beetleborgs, and of course, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Jeff Nimoy, the voice actor for Tentomon and the story editor on the film, has gone on record stating that the first cut of the movie consisted of just the first 2 films, and Fox had plans to release the 3rd film separately as a television movie or direct-to-video, but the idea was overruled. I can't really imagine that being a bad decision, honestly. It would have meant that we had a better cut of each of those films. Okay, so before we can get fully into the plot of the Digimon movie, there is one little thing that needs to be discussed about this bad boy. There's 2 little things. 2 terrible, terrible words that no one ever wants to hear in their entire life. Angela Anaconda. Let's kick it up! For some godforsaken reason, the executives at Fox Kids decided that not only should this show be a staple of Saturday morning cartoons in the 90s, but it should also have a special Digimon episode that plays in front of the Digimon movie, which by my calculations already had the right amount of Angela Anaconda in it. None. It apparently caused some kids' parents to actually get divorced as well. Yeah, seriously, look it up. Angela Anaconda actually ruined someone's marriage. Let's kick it up! So we start off 8 years ago. Kari narrates talking about how she and her brother Ty found a Digi-egg coming out of their computer one night. I prefer my eggs free range, but to each their own. Eventually, the egg hatches and causes a ton of trouble for the Kamiya family, but most importantly, their cat. That cat puts up with so much shit. The little baby grows into the super affectionate Koromon and then ruins their apartment wall by digivolving further into Agumon. Now, this is not going to be the same Agumon that Tai eventually befriends down the road. It is entirely a different Agumon. I think the difference is that he is just bigger. But like, if I had a nickel for every time that Tai and Agumon got bonded together, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot. But it's weird that it's happened twice. Agumon takes Kari on a field trip around Heighton View Terrace, making sure that she has tons of sugary soda before bedtime, and blows up a bus. Agumon has been a hardened criminal since the very beginning. Turns out Agumon wasn't the only Digimon to make the journey though, as a massive parrot Digimon hatches out of an even more massive Digi-egg in the sky, fully formed and already an ultimate level Digimon. I'll give you 3 chances to guess the giant parrot Digimon's name. Your time starts now. Did you figure out that it was Parrotmon? Because it's fucking Parrotmon. Agumon gets his ass handed to him by Parrotmon, but in an act of protecting those he loves, Agumon digivolves into Greymon and proceeds to get his ass thoroughly handed to him again. And in order to motivate him, Kari and Tai blow their whistle. It is really fucking badass. The 2 Digimon disappear into the sky, and Kari shares that those who witnessed the battle would later become the Digidestin. And then we jump ahead 4 years. Let's kick it up! Oh look, it's the Digidestin again, and they're slightly more grown up than the last time we saw them. It's summer vacation, meaning the kids are scattered across the globe. One day, Izzy notices that an infected Digi-egg has appeared on the World Wide Web and hatches into a starving baby Digimon that immediately starts chowing down on code. This causes the world to be thrown into chaos, which is extremely funny at first, but then you think about what that would be like today, and it stops being funny very, very fast. Meanwhile, Tai is apologizing to Sora via email because he is a dumb boy and didn't think about his actions when he gave her a hair clip for her birthday. She thinks that it means he hates her hat. He doesn't understand why she's upset. It is a classic case of will they, won't they, where Sora ends up not picking Tai and dating Matt instead. Izzy runs over to Tai's and tells him that the egg is hatched, which makes Tai think he's talking about the chicken egg that he's holding.
Izzy, you're all sweaty. What's wrong?
Well, it's about the egg.
Huh?
The egg is already hatched.
Oh.
Oh, not that egg.
Oh.
A Digi-egg.
The boys are reunited with their Digimon partners over the web thanks to Genai, and it allows Tentomon and Agumon to literally surf the web until they meet up with the now digivolved Caramon. They think they have a chance, and everyone digivolves, giving us Greymon, Kabuterimon, and Infamon. Turns out that the newly formed Infamon is actually Ultimate level though, and not Champion, so Greymon and Kabuterimon try to digivolve further to Ultimate, but Infamon actually breaks the rules and attacks them while they're digivolving. This never happened in the original show, and by my recollection, never happens again. I don't understand why more evil Digimon don't just attack in the middle of the Digivolution sequence. Like, clearly and canonically, it is able to happen. Why doesn't everyone do this? While this is all happening, Tai tries to reach out to the other Digidestin, but Joe is in the middle of taking a test, Sora is ignoring him, Kari's at a birthday party and about to be sawed in half by a magician, and Mimi is... so he can only connect with Matt and TK. Gabumon and Patamon join the net surfing shenanigans, and the four try to take down Infamon again. But Infamon digivolves into its mega form, Diaboromon, and it just absolutely devastates the Digimon, leaving only a battered and crumbling Wargreymon and Metal Garurumon to chase down Diaboromon. I remember as a kid seeing how just devastated they looked and how depressing it felt. And after coming off of Digimon Adventure and watching parts of Adventure 02, it was just so dark. There was never anything like that happened in episodes. Like, there were no threats. I think the worst we had was when Skull Greymon appeared. Like, you knew it was bad things happening, but other than that, I don't think anything bad ever really happened to anyone ever. Diaboromon replicates himself and infects the Pentagon's mainframe, which is a sentence that I just had to read, launching all the nukes at Colorado and Heightened View Terrace, where the Digidestin are located. Within seconds of arriving, Wargreymon and Metal Garurumon are all but destroyed, but using the power of love, Tai and Matt enter the internet, and with all of the kids watching and contributing their power through emails and support. Oh god, was that supposed to be us kids watching and like throwing our support at the movie? Like, I feel like that's kind of what they were implying. The two Digimon combine into the ultimate creature, Omnimon, and this was so goddamn cool to watch as a kid.
Where'd your brother go?
They combined.
Part Wargreymon, part Metal Garurumon. They digivolved together to become
Omnimon! Transcendent Sword!
There were no words for what this was at the time. Everyone I knew kind of just assumed that they fused together and that they were the only Digimon ever able to do it. Later in 02 would we find out that it was the same thing as DNA digivolving, but like the fact that this existed before it existed, I don't know, was really cool. Omnimon starts destroying all the Diaboromon copies to a absolutely killer ska soundtrack, but he has trouble catching the final real one. Izzy gets the smart idea to, and I quote, forward all the kids' emails to Diaboromon, slowing down his internet connection. Omnimon delivers the final blow as Diaboromon fades away into dust, its last words being... The missiles are rendered inactive and crash into the water, and the day is saved. But not really, because then, in the present day, the virus that created Diaboromon eventually finds its way to Colorado, and infects one of the twin Digimon under the care of a boy named Willis. He's an OC who appears in this film, and then has a cameo in another film over 20 years later. Willis is incredibly memorable. Anyway, TK and Kari are visiting New York at the time when they see Willis and his partner, Terriermon, battling a Wendigomon. Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, Cocomon. Freaking kill me. Cocomon has been corrupted by the virus mentioned earlier and keeps telling Willis to... The 02 cast, minus Ken, are asked by Kari to meet them in Colorado, so they hitchhike all the way there. which is absolutely impossible given the geography of Japan and North America. Wait a minute, did Digimon take place in America in the English dub? I swear Heightened View Terrace was supposed to be somewhere in Japan. Willis shares his sob story with Davis. Davis cries, then gets over it, and Terriermon and Demi-Vmon become pals. And everyone ends up meeting back up to fight Cocomon. It goes about as well as every other battle has in this film. Cocomon digivolves into Antilamon, which is still called Cocomon, and then eventually digivolves further into Cherubimon Vice, still fucking called Cocomon. This bothers me in ways that are absolutely undefinable. Cocomon is the baby, but yet he calls Terriermon Terriermon, not Gummymon, but Terriermon. It is enough to absolutely make me fucking lose my Momentai. Anjumon and Anjouamon show up, and through the power of plot convenience, warp digivolve into Seraphimon and Magnadramon. You know, I always thought it was really weird that Patamon went from being this tiny, like, potato, and then got sexier as he evolved. And Gatomon started as, like, a little cat, and then became a cat, and then became a woman. And then decided to, when digivolving to its final form, go all the way back to furry status. I'm not shaming anyone, I'm not shaming anything, I just think it's really confusing. And yes, I know that Anjouamon has split mega evolutions, but this movie decided to go from animal to woman to animal again. Someone on the design team has some explaining to do. The two angels summon the golden Digi-Eggs, which allow Vmon and Terriermon to golden armored digivolve into Magnamon and golden Rapidmon. More ska plays, which has been the absolute saving grace of this movie for me, like I am not fucking kidding. And the golden Digimon are swallowed by Cocomon, allowing them to destroy the virus from within, and oh shit, they actually kill Cocomon. That is kinda dark, even for anime. With that depressing conclusion, the Digidestined go back home, and Willis takes this opportunity to piss David off even more by kissing Kari on the cheek. He also kisses Yo-Lee on the cheek. But no one cares about Yo-Lee, and the music swells as Willis finds a Digi-Egg floating in the water. It's Cocomon, and by that I mean it's actually Cocomon, the baby form of Lopmon, which is basically just Terriermon, but Neapolitan. And that's been Digimon the movie. If you look up anything about the Digimon movie online, you find a lot of mixed opinions. The worst American adaptation. It sort of works. We should have known we were doomed as a society when this lost Best Picture to Gladiator at the Oscars. And a lovely critic rating of 24% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is not the worst score, but it's still not great. It has been weird seeing public opinion shift back and forth so much on the Digimon movie as I've grown up. Like I said, I recall a lot of people loving it at the time, and then over the years we shifted over to it is absolute garbage, why is this a movie? And then now I feel like we've kind of shifted back to acceptance? It's gotten to the point where we actually are getting a redub of the original movie with most of the original cast and a couple new members as well. It's something I really love to see, the OG casts getting to come back and do voiceover work for a franchise that we've long moved past, and to see that we're not only getting a remaster in HD with original uncut versions of the 3 parts that make up the English release, but they're also going with mixed tone of the classic English dub, along with some more straightforward points. Like, we're getting, in a weird way, the best of both versions. And the Japanese soundtrack is coming back. And the ska soundtrack that we all know and love is going to be featured as well. And the best part is, no Angela Anaconda sketch before the movie. Now there won't be any more ruined marriages. I may actually talk about this again as a follow-up when it eventually comes out. I am constantly refreshing their Twitter feed and the web page that this is going to be orderable on, because it's been like a year since it was announced, it feels like, and I just want to know. Just let me buy it from you. But hey, at least that gives me plenty of time to go online and use my favorite Imperial Dramon deck to play against some noobs and see how well I can do. And I've already lost 6 times. God, I am terrible at this game.
My